You're listening to Business Stories with Ryan Arcaraci, a podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs become even more successful. Let's jump into today's episode. Hey, everybody. We are back on the Business Stories with Ryan Arcaraci podcast. And this is my first episode of the new year. And it's a special one because I like to break away from like my traditional episodes where I talk about business and sales and marketing and all that stuff. Because my true passion ever since I've been a kid has been music and punk rock in particular. I still have a lot of friends in punk rock. I love punk rock. And a close friend of mine, Josh Rock, connected me with one of my inspirations growing up playing music. His band really inspired me to play, inspired me to get out and see bands and tour. So that person is Mr. Joe Queer of the seminal punk rock band, The Queers, and Joe is here to talk to me. So, Joe, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh man, nice to be here, Ryan. Glad to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. I want to talk about The Queers, but I also want to talk about you and just growing up as Joe Queer. Like, I like to hear about your backstory, your family life. How did you grow up into becoming the Joe Queer we know today?
Oh, I grew up in New Hampshire, Seacoast area, New Hampshire. That's where we're from, Portsmouth. Well, Northampton, but I always say Portsmouth because nobody knows Northampton. But yeah, the Seacoast area, New Hampshire. It's only 11 miles long between Massachusetts and Maine. So that's we're always down there. But it's funny when I grew up. People ask me about music, but when I was young, my best friend Scott had a little record player, and they had one 7-inch Tennessee Ernie Ford 16 tons, and we would play that thing over and over, and I just loved hearing that. Then we had a 7-inch that was the Batman theme, and my sister had a record player, and I would play that over and over. And Brian Wilson always talks about how he would play Be My Baby over and over and over. And that's how I was. For some reason, I was fixated. I just loved the smell of the vinyl, and I would always listen to stuff. I still to this day, if I hear a good song, play it over and over and over. And then when I was about fourth grade, for whatever reason, I just really wanted to play trumpet. I just had to play trumpet in the band. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing looking back that I just really wanted to play music. And that's kind of where I started. And listening to 7-inches back when I grew up in the 60s, the AM radio, I had my little paper route and I would listen to my AM radio and the songs were just like, just like a jukebox.
Yeah.
And Paul Revere and the Raiders and Herman's Hermits and the Stones and the Beatles and the Turtles and, to Del Shannon and Chuck Berry. And it was just like not Supremes and Motown and all that stuff. And then I had gotten into playing trumpet and I could read music and all that stuff. And so then I learned in high school, I got into the jazz band. So I kind of got a little bit of an appreciation of some jazz, and I just like music. Then I realized I was not going to play. I hit that physically. I couldn't do the staccato notes on trumpet.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it hit me and I realized I was smart enough to realize I had hit my ceiling and I wasn't going any further with trumpet. And then I picked up guitar, but I've always had music in my life. So it's kind of odd looking back, but I just, from the moment I just had to get that trumpet and start playing music. And it's always been part of my life and I'm a lifer. So it's odd looking back, where I ended up, but I always love playing music and I still like doing it. I never took it for granted. I think the Queers, we had gotten on Lookout Records and then Green Day got big and then my dog's barking, but
That's okay.
the other guys, Hugh, but B-Face too, I don't think I owned a restaurant when we got signed to Lookout Records. I owned a restaurant and that's what I was going to do with my life. I also love cooking. And so I owned a restaurant bar and I was going to buy another one. And then we got signed to Lookout and we did one tour with Weasel and one with Rancid. And I said, Dad, I'm selling my restaurant and I'm going to go play music. So by the time we had got on Lookout, I was about 29 or 28 or something. I thought the ship had sailed. I wasn't going to do music. I was like, we're just going to play weekends at the Rat in Boston or something like that. That was it. I was happy and content to go be, run a restaurant because I like doing that. It's creative, and I still miss that to this day too. But anyway, when we got on Lookout, we were able to tour. I didn't take music for granted. I really felt I was lucky to be able to do it. I didn't think it would ever happen. So I don't know, is B-Face our original bass player at when we were on Lookout? I don't know, is he still had that? He had the drive that I had because I thought the ship sailed, and I was like, damn, it didn't sail, dude. We're doing this. We're touring around the world and have fans. And it was what I dreamt of doing in high school.
Yeah.
So, going from Northampton, just playing the trumpet, but that's, in a nutshell, the musical thing. But you've got to have a lot of drive in music and not worry about your credit score and
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. But many times I spent my last penny on the band stupidly. I remember my girlfriend, we didn't have cable, and she was like, you're buying a cymbal for your band? This is before we got on Lookout. You're buying a cymbal for your band? We don't even have cable. I never forgot her saying that. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? But it was like, I was spending $35 on a cymbal for my drummer. We weren't making money or anything, but I just love music. And again, I never took it for granted. And it's what I wanted to do in high school. And I never forgot the little guy delivering papers
Yeah.
that would listen to the AM radio with the covers pulled over my head. I told Joey Ramone about that. Do you remember lying in bed with the covers pulled up over your head?
That's one of
I
my
said,
favorite Ramone
I was
songs. Yeah.
astounded. I thought I was the only one that did it. And he said, so many people, he said it might be the biggest line he ever wrote because so many people came up to him and said the same exact thing. And I was like, I thought I was the only one who would listen to the radio with the covers over my head at night.
Yeah.
Little AM radio with one speaker in
Right.
my ear. I'd fall asleep to it.
Yeah.
So, that's where I came from. But you need drive and all that stuff. But I always wanted to play music. I didn't take it for granted. I've owned restaurants and worked construction and worked commercial fishing and all that stuff. So I love playing music. Not every minute of it, but it's always been with me playing music. And it's kind of even through restaurants and construction, all these other jobs, I always wanted to play music. So that's kind of kept me going. It's kind of the one thing grounded me in my life was music. So yeah, it's kind of funny though, but how it ended up.
I think in a punk band, well, I think with any band or any venture, like there's adversity in the beginning, right? And I think as a punk band, you have even more adversity because people don't expect punk bands to become successful. Um,
Mm,
did you
right.
deal with that early on? I mean, you said you had your girlfriend who was, giving you shit for buying a cymbal when you could have been, getting cable.
Yeah.
And that's probably a small thing, but I'm saying, what was there any other times when you felt that like that adversity, like, oh, I don't know if we can keep doing this. I don't know if I can keep doing this. This is getting hard, especially maybe in the Lookout time when it was probably you're trying to grow and you're trying to build it. Were you
We
experiencing that at all ever then?
No,
No.
no, we didn't handle our money well at all because we went from we got together and we would rehearse. My restaurant was open 6 days a week, and we had a little bar downstairs. The bar was down in the cellar. It's
Yeah.
overlooking the river out back, Exeter, New Hampshire. Anyway, so we would go in on weekends and we would practice on Sundays, and we'd practice at my bar. And then we wrote to Ben Weasel. We got in touch with Ben Weasel because we heard Boogada. We like Boogada, me and B-Face and Hugh. And we got in touch with Ben. And so it was weird how they did My Brain Hurts. And then Ben got us on Lookout and we did Love Songs. And I got my first royalty check from that. It was like $4,232. I still remember it. And that was just for me. And the other two guys got a check, the same thing. And I was like, man, this is like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
So really from those days, we were able to tour. We had some rough tours at first, but then we got a booking agent. And then pretty much once we got going after Beat Off, our second album, we were able to do it and live off the band. I've been able to do it. The only times things got tight was due to me not managing my money, but money wise, I was able to do it. I did go after I sobered up. after my dad died, I did go work with my brother on the commercial fishing boat, but only because it kind of like helped me stay sober. And I would tour, and then I didn't do it because I made more money playing music, but I did it because it kept me kind of grounded, as it were.
Yeah.
So, but we were lucky in that we've been pretty much able to live off the band ever
Yeah.
since those days, believe it or not. Yeah, we didn't have it was pretty easy. The only time things were tough was when we, fritter our money away through drugs and drinking and partying and shit like that. But as
Yeah.
far as so we had it pretty easy as it was, like
Yeah.
we had a label that fronted us 20 grand and we went and got a brand new van in 1996. So, we paid cash. The guy couldn't believe we would go strolling in. The salesman thought we were full of shit. We're like, no. And they sent the money over and we bought the van and walked out like they couldn't believe it.
Right.
But we were lucky in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
What
I
was
mean, the
look?
thing is,
Yeah.
you hear bands now like, oh, you can't make money touring. I mean, if you live within your means, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? These bands don't want to them, it's like, sitting in a van or a bus. Good Lord, that's like asking us to climb Mount Everest.
Right.
But, you operate at a profit, and, we get our Sprinter van and we go out and we get a nice hotel. And, I pay my guys cash every night. And it's like we are able to come home with a profit. My drummer has 3 kids, and, we can live off the band if we
Yeah.
want to go out and watch our money. Of course, a big part of that, of course, is, anybody does, not getting messed up on, drinking and drugs and all that stuff. And then it's amazing, what you can, how much money you come home with if you don't drink it or, drug it away.
Right.
But we've been lucky in that respect. Yeah. So,
What was the Lookout time like? I mean, because to me, I read the book about, I think Larry Livermore wrote it, or somebody wrote it for him a while back. And that was like such a magical time because you had Green Day coming up, you had you guys, I think it was the Mr. T experience.
yeah. Weasel.
And the Weasel, of course. And I mean, and that was at a time when I fell in love with all those bands. I mean, Screeching
Yeah.
Weasel, you guys, like I heard all that and I went, wow, this is magical.
Yeah.
But I don't think there will ever be a time like Lookout Records again. I think that was a really important time in punk rock,
Right.
and you
Yes.
lived it.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you remember about the shows, the label, the culture back then? What
It,
was it like for you?
it was great. I mean, we went again. So I was working, I owned my restaurant, and we were just practicing. Hold on one sec. Sorry.
Okay,
Okay. Be quiet now. And, sorry. Hold on.
it's okay.
Go. Stay out there. Hold on one sec. Stay out. Sorry about that. I have 2 Australian cattle dogs, and
It's okay.
they want
I'm an
attention.
animal lover.
But anyway, yeah, we went from stop Yuki Momo. Uh, we went from like, so we'd rehearse at Joe's place on weekends, on Sundays, and we'd drink beers, and our friends would come down and we'd write songs. I don't want to be a granola head and
Yeah,
whatever. And so we went from that, and then we went out and did a couple tours. Then all of a sudden we did love songs, and we were able to like tour, and it was astounding. It was bad for us as alcoholics and drug addicts because every night of the week we would find people like us in Boise or Mankato, Minnesota, or whatever. Someone always was ready to drink.
right.
So it was really bad in that respect. But it was exciting because we got swept up into that whole thing, that vacuum that Green Day. I think their first 2, Kerplunk and that other album, sold 8 million copies each on Lookout.
Wow.
So we got swept up in that. It was exciting. I mean, I wish I, stayed sober back then and enjoyed it more, but it was great. I mean, MTX and even lesser bands on Lookout, Smugglers, High Fives. They were killer bands. They were amazing, man. They were fucking killer.
Yeah.
And so, stop it. So it was exciting, and then we did a lot of big shows, and yeah, it was great. Lookout was like a family back then. So they would send us tapes and say, what do you guys think of this band? Should we sign this band? It was really cool. I
Yeah.
loved it the way Larry ran it. And
Yeah.
then unfortunately, Chris and Molly and Pat ran it. And then things just didn't work out. I mean, Molly tried hard with us and worked really hard. and then they just made. I'm not a good businessman, so I just look back at like the great times and how hard those guys worked to help us. And I don't like it when people give Molly shit or blame her or whoever for the label. It's just, it is what it is. It was just a special time.
Yeah.
And but it was really good energy, and I really liked it a lot. And
Yeah.
and we were lucky to be there. I mean, we did Love Songs was a good album, but then Beat Off and Move Back Home musically, and they got some moments, but they sold well and we made a lot of good money. But we were able to sell those. We didn't think they were that. We knew they weren't that good. We were capable of far better than that. And those albums both sold really well because of
Yeah.
that whole Lookout scene. But it was great. MTX, all your peers are writing great stuff. So it like really inspired us. Green Day, they had left Lookout, but still, the Muffs, Green Day, Ramones, those were your peers. So I think it helped us bring our ball game up too. But it was a good time. Then you had, it was exciting, Nirvana and Weezer and all that stuff. It was exciting, good energy, and so I kind of thought it was going to last forever. It didn't, but I still, I just remember the main thing I remember from Lookout was that everybody stuck together and they were really behind us, and we felt like we were wanted. And I still love Chris and Molly. I've lost touch with. I don't talk to them all the time, but I see Bratmobile still playing, so hopefully I'll see Molly. But I thought they did a great job for years. So
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the culture now, I think there's a lot of people, younger people, who are easily offended, right? And I know if we know the Queers,
yeah.
we know that early days there was a lot of songs that would be considered like song titles that would be considered offensive now. I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
do you feel like if
Not
the
song to,
Queers,
I think lyrics mainly. I don't
yeah,
know. Well, some of the songs, Homo, I guess that was one.
yeah,
Only because we were on the Muffs tour and I was singing that and I showed it to Kim and she goes, "That's kind of like a Muffs chorus." And so we did the song. It's kind of a throwaway song, but now you wouldn't want to do that because you get. It's funny because the kids are so far to the left now that they call us Nazis, and it's weird. We're like, no, 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 we're the left wing, man. And so you can't win. Now they're like, your name's offensive. And I was like,
yeah,
offensive to who? Are you homophobic? What are you talking about?
yeah,
And it's really, but how it is. You can't please anything. I just, the problem was the great punk bands back in the day got their point across through humor.
right,
Dead Kennedys, the Circle Jerks,
yeah,
all Black Flag, all of them, and they were serious, but yet they had their tongue in cheek. And number one, they were goofing at themselves,
yeah,
goofing on themselves, and that's the same thing with the Queers. It's like the greatest lesson in life is to learn to laugh at yourself and
right,
don't take yourself so seriously.
yeah,
And now you say stuff and it's obvious satire, like Joe Queer said this or whatever. And it's like, dude, I'm in a band called the Queers. I'm not, it's not a press release from the White House. It's just
right,
so people are scared to laugh,
yeah,
It's like, oh God, am I gonna get called a racist? Blah blah
yeah.
blah blah blah.
One
So
second,
it's
Joe. I gotta
really
just grab something. I'll be right back.
no,
Yeah.
no, no problem. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries, yeah.
Um,
But anyway, so
yeah, I mean, I think, and that's what kind of trips me out because when I was growing up, I mean, I got into the Queers. It was about '96. I think I got a Hopeless Records compilation or something.
oh yeah.
It was a comp I bought, and I heard you guys. I heard Screeching Weasel or something, and I was hooked ever since. And I grew up in Western New York, so it was a college town, and everybody I knew was into punk. I mean, there was a Ramones cover band at my college we used to go see called the
Cool.
Malones. I played in
Oh
several
yeah.
bands. So
Where was that, if you don't mind me asking? Ithaca?
outside
Where?
of Buffalo. So I grew up in a town
Oh,
called
okay, okay.
Dunkirk, which was like an hour outside of Buffalo. Yeah.
And that's west of Buffalo?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I
Cool.
grew up on Lake Erie. So right on Lake Erie.
Okay, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I've heard of Dunkirk, but I couldn't pick it out on the map,
yeah.
but I
Yeah.
know of Dunkirk. Yeah. Okay.
So
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I had, a circle of friends. One of my best friends, Rich, actually hung out with you, and two of my other friends, Matt and Mike, were twins. And I was telling Rich, hey, I'm gonna have Joe Queer on the podcast. He's like, oh, we hung out with Joe at a show, like I don't know if it was in Canada or somewhere, and he was making fun of me and poking fun at me because he's bald and you're bald, and he's like talking
Is
about
that
how
right?
you know, and you know, Matt and Mike are twins, and you guys were joking about that. It's just so weird how everybody's kind of in some way connected in some
Yeah,
weird way. It's just
yeah,
funny, you know.
yeah.
So
But that's not to interrupt, but that's one of the funnest things about music that I dreamt about doing in high school is just having friends and like the network of friends. That's how, people are like, oh, are you bummed out you didn't make it as big as Green Day? And I go, no, I don't begrudge them that. But I mean, I'm so happy with my life. So if I had made another move, I wouldn't be, married. I wouldn't have met my wife if I didn't do that tour because I met her on tour. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
things worked out fine. So
yeah,
I'm like happy and I wouldn't trade it for $1 million. So
yeah,
anyway, but the fun part is I hear stories about like, oh man, we helped you load your gear out or whatever. It's just, I've met the greatest people playing music. And it is funny how, you get these little stories. And that's the
yeah,
fun thing about punk rock
yeah,
is, especially at our level, it's not that big where you could just, you meet a lot of people like that stuff. Oh, we met here and there. And like every show I go to, like Punk in the Park, 50 people come up, Joe Queer, dude, you got me and my buddy were 15. We couldn't get into Showcase Theater in Corona. Man, you stuck
yeah,
us in the back door. All stuff like that. It's
right,
like, oh, that's cool, man. So it's so
yeah,
funny, man. But
yeah,
that's the fun thing about music. You don't have to be in the band or whatever, just fans. So
yeah.
I love that. So
And for me growing up, it was like I have older siblings, so I would tell my brother like, "Oh, you got to listen to this band, The Queers," because he loved the Ramones. I mean, he's seen the Ramones, and he was older than me, so he got to see the Ramones live. I never really
you
did.
never did, yeah, yeah.
Closest thing I got to see was Marky do a DJ set when I first moved to Vegas. He did a DJ set at a club bar out here, and I was
Okay,
like right next to him, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing," you know. It's like Marky Ramone
yeah,
doing a DJ set, you
okay,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's great.
but I tell my brother, like, hey, you got to hear this band, the Queers. They're like the Ramones, but like the Beach Boys, and they kind of blend it all, and they're really good, and they're really poppy. And he heard him, and he like, he heard you guys, and he loved you guys, and he's like, let's go see him. So we went to go to Rochester, New York. I saw you guys there with my brother, um, and I saw you guys again. It was like 2001 in Pittsburgh with, I think it was the Teen Idols you guys played with.
Was
Um,
that upstairs at that upstairs place, Club Laga? Do you remember? Or you
it
had to
was
climb up about four sets of stairs? Club Laga.
probably, I
No.
can't
Oh
remember. It
yeah,
was,
okay. Anyway, I was
yeah.
just curious.
But I think I still have actual photos in a box of the show. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So and I know you guys are playing Vegas next month on Valentine's Day, so I want to try to get my wife and I to go to that. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I haven't even looked at the dates really, to be honest. I know I gotta leave February 4th and head west, so I don't know where we're going. So oh, we're so busy, it's crazy. But anyway, all good stuff though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you know, I want to ask you too, like, you know, being a band for 40 plus years, I think it's hard to keep people together. I think people come and go. What do you do to keep the band tight and maintain the band's identity, keep people, you know, happy on tour? Because I've played in bands and like I know people get at each other's necks. You know, people get tired, they get exhausted, they get irritable. How do you keep it all together after 40 years, Joe?
Well, we're lucky I pay the guys cash every night and we get good hotels and I pay the guys cash, no drinking and no pot. So that takes out makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
And then, my attitude is my band. So, stop you guys. It's my band. So, everybody kind of knows we got a leader. So my attitude is if you don't want to be here, that's fine. I get it. It's not fun every moment. We're not making $1 million. But if you don't want to be here, just let me know and I'll buy a ticket home. So
yeah,
really, Hog, our drummer's been here for years. Ginger, he's more of a guitar player. He was on bass, so he's busy with Screeching Weasel. He kind of left to just fill in with them on guitar, and
yeah.
he's more of a guitar player, so he's been playing with them. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
And but keeping the band together, yeah, a big part was just no drinking and drugs. And then I'm the leader, so that kind of puts everything in place. And I'm we have a good time.
Yeah.
It's mainly not drinking. Drinking just adds so much trouble.
Right.
But you know, we have fun, and once you're in the group, it's like got a sense of it, you know, it's fun being in the group because it's a funny thing traveling around in a band called the Queers. You just, you know, laugh at everything and or a lot of stuff, and we have a good time. So I don't know, it's a combination of stuff, but the main thing was not drinking and doing drugs.
Yeah.
And we get good hotel rooms, and you know, by and large, all the shows are good too. So we have a, you know, we have fun. We like co-headlining tours, like with Bottle Rocket or Dwarves or Dickies or Black Flag. We went out with them last tour, and that's been great getting to meet Greg and everybody. He's got a new lineup. So there's not any one thing, but we're just feed the guys and get a good hotel room, and we can handle a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
and it's fun. So yeah, not every night, but you got to want to do it too. So you know, really, we got a keyboard player now, Ron, and he's my age, and he never got to tour. He was in a band called Rubber City Rebels, but we got a lot of songs the keyboards fit in, and he just wanted to tour. And so I said, yeah, sure, you want to go tour, jump in the van, you know,
Yeah.
not going to make $1 million, but he's like semi-retired, and he's like, I always wanted to do this and never got a chance to. So
Yeah.
he's going to Europe with us, and he's going to go on the next tour out west. You'll see him if you come see us. And so yeah, it's mainly get with guys that want to be there, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Ginger is the lifer, and Hog, he really, you know, Hoglog's got 3 kids, my drummer, and a business, but he really wanted to play music. So he's, you know, he made time for it, and which is incredible because especially the job his wife does, because they have 3 daughters. They're teenagers now, but you know, he's been in the band for 12 years. So, you know, and you can't be in a band where your girlfriend or your wife is calling, needs to talk to you every day. You just can't, you know, you've got to
Yeah.
have, like my wife and I, we don't have kids, but we just, you know, we deal with touring. That's part of our life. Same with Hog and his wife.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they have done. And they've got 3 wonderful kids, and they're great parents, Shara and Hog. And so yeah, you got to want to do it. It's a bunch of stuff, but I feed them good. I pay them cash every night, and or Venmo, and we get good hotel rooms, and so we are able to weather the storm, and so with guys that want to be there. So, but a lot of times, Ryan, I've had great guys through the years. Philip from Teen Idols, Matt, he's with Less Than Jake. They were in Teen Idols. A lot of times, people like my buddy Bear was drumming with us for a little while. He got married and had a kid, and then graduated from college, so he's teaching school. Salsa Man Dave Trevino, he got a kid, now he has 2 kids, and you know, it just, he was able to play with us for a few years. A lot of guys, Isaac, who was with us on bass for a tour too, you know, everybody's kind of gone on, you know, you got to be in the music mode, and
Yeah.
a lot of times people get kids or jobs or life just gets in the way. But a
Yeah.
lot of them, I'm in touch with so many of the guys that were in the band. They're all cheering us on. They're like, dude, so happy to see the Queer still going. Dude, I can't believe it. I'm, you know, following you guys. And so we're all still friends.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Lurch, our old drummer, Lurch, nobody. I'm still in touch with him all the time. Philip. So, but keeping it together, yeah, the biggest thing was just no drinking, because drinking, I'll see bands drinking, and it's just like, I want to tell them, younger bands, drop that, dude, because it ain't going to be, you know, it just ain't going to work out. You got to get through thick and thin. Like we just went over to Australia, Japan, and Hawaii, and we did 10 flights from when we left Atlanta to get to till we got back home. We did 10 flights this summer, and it was hot over there. We had a ball, but it's, you know, 10 flights, and you're over in Australia and Japan, and trains, planes, and
Yeah.
automobiles and all that
Exhausting.
stuff. But
Yeah.
we had a ball. Not every minute was fun, but it was just, we had a great time. So we do it again in a heartbeat. So that was a lot of fun. So you just got to be ready and know what you're getting into. So
Yeah.
that's how we keep it together, really. You know, the old days, the biggest trouble was all of a sudden we got money. We weren't prepared to get money. We were drinking. And that was like, we had to like either be musicians or drunks. And
Yeah.
some of us wanted to drink, and some wanted to play music. And, you know, it's a big
Yeah.
learning curve. The whole thing has been, it hasn't been perfect, but I wanted to play music. So, but I always wanted to play music. I don't know how a lot of these guys were so into it, and then they leave the band and they're just like couch potatoes. And it's like, dude, man, I thought you were into it, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
We had the band, man. What are you doing? How can you leave the band? But that's where you got people like me or Ben Weasel or Blag from the Dwarves or Stan Lee and Leonard from the Dickies. And we're still playing, man.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to be, that's it. We want to play music and we're going to play music.
Yeah. You'll
So
be doing that till you're in the 80s. You're 80s, I'm
right.
sure,
And
Joe.
Green Day and all
Yeah.
those, Green Day
Yeah.
or, Green Day was going to play, it was either punk rock or Welcome to Burger King, May I Take Your Order. Those guys weren't going to, they aren't brain
Yeah.
surgeons. They'll be the first to tell you. But Mighty Mighty Boss Tones from Boston, those bands, Muffs, Screeching Weasel, MTX, none of us had safety nets under us. It was
Yeah.
either, plastic or paper man or
Mhm.
welcome to Burger King or punk rock.
Yeah.
So that I think helped all those bands. You know what I mean? We weren't like we had nothing to fall back on. It was
Yeah.
like punk rock or who knows what, living under a bridge.
Right.
So we were certainly, I was thankful, but a lot of those bands were gonna, like, say Green Day. Green Day was gonna do Dookie, whether it was on Lookout or it was on Warner Brothers Reprise.
Yeah.
It might have been better production they ended up with on Dookie, but they still had those songs. They didn't
Yeah.
change anything. So I mean, they were in the right place at the right time, and Dookie's such a killer album.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, the whole time was great. It's funny because I had a friend that knew Rivers Phoenix or whatever his name is from not Phoenix, from Weezer.
Rivers Cuomo.
Come on. And
Yeah.
so she was like, "Oh man, I told Rivers about you. Yeah, I played him a couple songs. He likes it. You should get together with him and write some songs." And so at the time we were doing so well, I was in my own little bubble and I was like, "Oh, whatever. We're doing fine, whatever, And
Yeah.
then it wasn't until like afterwards that I realized how big they were. But never mind all that. I really respect some of the songs that I
Yeah.
really sat up and I was like, fuck, I wish I'd worked with him because I would have loved to see what we could come up with,
Yeah.
But that's the stuff I regret is not like Joey Ramone. We were going to do a 4-song EP with Joey singing. This is about the time he was going to leave the Ramones. And he said, would you be up for doing because he liked our Don't Back Down album, just to your point, like
Yeah.
between the Ramones and the Beach Boys musically. And he said, "Oh, I love what you're doing there. I always wanted to have the Beach Boys vocals. Would you guys be up for being my band? And we'll do an EP, Joe Ramone with the Queers.
Yeah.
And I'll sing and you guys be my band." And we talked to Andy Paley from the Paley Brothers about producing. And we had the whole thing set up. We were going to do it. And I think labels, we hadn't found a label yet but we weren't worried about it because it was Joey Ramone. So we were going to be able to go on
Right.
any label we wanted, Sire or Epitaph, anybody would have put it out. But I screwed it up in that I didn't realize, Ryan, I was running out of my league. We needed a manager and someone that could we should have booked the studio. We had a studio lined up, Mark Lynette's studio. Andy had lined up, but we should have booked the thing and just gone, in a few weeks. And I was like, Joey's like, I got this one thing at the hospital and then we can go. And then Andy went off with, I believe, Madonna or something crazy. And then it didn't happen. And I was like, fuck, but I didn't know enough to say, book it. We got the flights. Let's go.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with some songs.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it. That was one of the big regrets. I wish we had done there, but I just didn't. I thought we could do it in 6 months, and it was just like he got sick, and then Andy went off, and the whole thing fell apart. But boy, that would have been something else, So
That would have been. Was that what year was that? Like we're talking late 90s or?
yes, that would have been somewhere around that time. Yes,
Okay.
late 90s, I believe. And yeah, because he was talking about, I don't know if the Ramones, I think they were still playing at the time. Or maybe they had done their last gig. It was somewhere around there, though. I can't remember when they did their last
They
show,
did
but
like Adios Amigos, I think, which was a late 90s one of
Yeah.
the last album or one of the last albums they did. And then Joey did some stuff solo, I remember, right before he passed.
Right. He did
Yeah.
his solo thing, but it was somewhere around there when like the band had either stopped playing or they were just about to. And so but we had done our Don't Back Down album and he really liked the Beach Boys vocals and he said, let's do it. I want to, I always wanted to do that Beach Boys Ramones thing. We don't have any back vocals in the Ramones. Like I'd love to do it. And
Yeah.
one thing I had said to him, he goes, what are we going to do for songs? And I had said, my suggestion was, I wanted to do It's Cold Outside, even though Stiv Bators had done a version of that with like the Dead Boys or Stiv Bators solo or something. But I thought Joey could sing that. I knew he could have sung that really good. But I suggested, In My Room by the Beach Boys, that,
Yeah. Yeah. I can
there's
kind of hear
a
it.
world where I can
Yeah.
go and tell my teeth. Like, it's like a Frere Jacques
Right.
thing. And Joey knew the Don't Back Down album we did, and he liked that song that Lisa Marr sings called I Can't Get Over You. And at the end, we've got three harmonies going. Ba 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 ba
Hmm.
ba ba ba. I can't, we had three, and he goes, "That's so cool." And I said, "Let's do a song, a slow song like In My Room, that's
Hmm.
sort of like a three-part Frere Jacques, a three-part harmony thing with me, you, and Kim Shattuck from the Muffs." So he's like, "Oh, dude, I love the Muffs. I'd love to." Um, that sounds cool to me. So I called Kim and stuff. And so, but he goes, "That would be great because everybody's gonna think we're coming out the Queers and Joey Ramone's gonna come out with like Blitzkrieg Bob Part 2 or something,
Right.
Beat on the Brat or something, and we come out with this totally beautiful three-part harmony with a girl,
Yeah.
and almost like no lead singer or Joey would just, we anyway, a slow song in like 6/8 time or something. He loved the idea and he said, "Stay ahead of the crowd, let the crowd follow us. We're not following the crowd."
Yeah.
So, which he loved the idea. I wish, again, it didn't happen, but I wish we could have done it. But I did learn just from talking to him about that stuff, like, stay out of the crowd. And he always told me, he said, "I hate bands that stay punk for the sake of staying punk. They never go anywhere musically. They just, they're worried like that they're not cool or whatever, but they
Yeah.
miss out musically." And like Joey did What a Wonderful World on his solo album. What a great,
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
he called me on a Saturday morning. I was at my folks' house, and he said, "Hey, Joe, it's Joey. Hey, let me play you this new song off my solo album. I want you to let me know about the mix." So, of course, he's like holding the phone up to a speaker in his, stereo in his living room,
Yeah.
and so he just wanted me to hear it, not judge the mix. You don't judge mixes off that, but
Right.
So I said, "What is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a cover. What a Wonderful World." I go, "Louis Armstrong?" And he goes, "Yeah, you know it." I go, "Dude, I played trumpet for 14 years. I know it very well."
Yeah.
And in the split second, he goes, "Yeah, hang on a sec. Let me play it for you." So he's holding his phone up to the speaker. But in those 5 or 6 seconds before the song started playing, I remember thinking, I can't believe he said cover song, Ryan. I thought it would be a Beach Boys or
Hmm.
Power Generators or, something.
Yeah.
I just was dumbfounded knowing What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, how Joey Ramone would cover that song. I remember just my mind was boggled. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't, out of all the songs, you're covering What a Wonderful World. And then
Yeah.
he played it for me and I was like dumbfounded. I was like, this is amazing, man.
Yeah. It's
And
amazing how it sounded. Like the way
yeah,
he did it, his voice with that music, like you wouldn't think it would have worked, but it worked incredibly well. Like it was
yes.
such a good song. Like,
Great arrangement,
yeah.
and that's kind of what I was getting at doing that slower song. I go, let's keep people thinking, and we could do some magic if we tried. I know we could, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was such a great song. I was so jealous. I was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing, dude."
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot from that guy, but he loved music. He loved talking about music. And another guy that's like that really too, that I knew fairly well, I lost touch with him the latter part of his life, really. I wasn't in touch much, was Gigi Allen. I don't know if you know Gigi
Oh,
Allen, a lot of these guys,
yeah. I mean,
you know.
I was gonna ask you about that because didn't you guys open for Gigi Allen early on at some
Yeah,
point?
we played with Gigi a few times. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Gigi and the Jabbers, and we knew him. And he was a good drummer. And for about 3 or 4 months, we were going down to I had a little rehearsal space down by the beach down in Hampton, and we'd go pick up Gigi, me and my buddy Don Crockford, who passed away. He was a great bass player. And Don and I would go out, drive an hour to get Gigi, and we'd come back down to the beach and we would play. Gigi was the drummer, and Don was on bass, and I was singing. Gigi was a really good drummer. And but he loved good music too. Like he loved bubblegum music, 1910 Fruit Gum Company and the Turtles, and he loved all that stuff. He was like a little older than me, but he loved good music.
yeah,
And it's weird to now he's not known as, he's known as crazy guy, some girl pissed in his mouth and blah blah blah.
yeah,
But I knew him as like a real knowledgeable, down to earth guy, talking like me and you are about music and this and
yeah,
that. And Joey Ramone was really into that too. I mean, with Joey, I thought to myself, like, geez, after all the stuff he's done, he still loved music and loved talking about music and this song and that song and what I
yeah,
thought of this. And so, and that, and what bands I had seen. And so, it was pretty, his enthusiasm was really cool. Yeah.
yeah,
So, and Gigi was like the same way, really. It was really weird. I lost touch with him when he got thrown in prison. No, I was in touch with him through this girl who would write to him all the time. But anyway, it was just sad the way he ended up, because I only knew that guy as a real fan of punk rock and of music and rock and roll.
yeah.
So it's kind of sad the way what he's remembered for. But he was another great guy who loved music. But I'm a lifer, and that's how I always will be, I guess. So I just always love music.
It's it's weird because I feel like I played in a lot of bands and I got to a point where I was like, "Ah, I feel like I'm too old to be doing this. Like I wish I could be like you guys, where you're just like, screw it. Like I don't care how old I am. I'm gonna just do it." But I'm at that point. Well, I've got a my wife and I adopted a kid, and like I have that
Yeah.
and stuff. And so like I did play years ago in a band, but it was just hard because when I want to practice, like I'll practice for 3, 4, 5 hours because I just enjoy it. Like I don't keep
Mm,
track of time, so it's harder now, but I love that you guys can just keep on going and doing it, and that's fun. So um, keeping that passion's great. So
yeah, we're lucky. I mean, I'm working out in the studio with my pal Scooter, who I met in Boise. But the stuff he's writing it's like stuff like Elton John would write. I'm not kidding you.
yeah,
It's great. But and then I got a side band that this band, the 66ers, we just got an album out on Rumbar Records. And guy Steven came in to work on songs, and we kind of did a little side band, and
yeah,
I'm gonna take him over to Europe and stuff to open up for the queers and stuff. But
yeah,
it's fun.
yeah,
It's just like fun. And I like the pop punk stuff. And we're lucky to be able to do it. You're right. Because a lot of people get in situations like you, which is wonderful. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Adopting a kid, that's so exciting. Mimi and I wanted to do it, we couldn't. But a lot of people like that. But we're still able to play music. So we're real. I still don't take it for granted even now.
yeah,
It's pretty special because you're doing a job where you go out and you make new friends every tour. I walk out when I leave here in February. It's like I'm going to make new friends, and it's just like God, what I
yeah,
dreamt of doing in high school.
yeah,
So I think I'm lucky in that respect, and I don't need to make $1 million to like I've made $1 million many times over with the friends and family. You can't put a price tag on having friends around the world, and from
right,
Boise to Tokyo to Utsunomiya, Japan. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like, wow, man, that's what I wanted to do in high school. So
yeah.
it's
I
been
mean,
fun.
yeah, I think when you're creative, you don't think about money. You just think like when I played in bands, it's just like let's just write music and go out and have a good time. Like who cares about the money? Let's just go have fun,
Well, and I tell young kids, I go, the thing is, like, money has nothing to do with it. Like, I think when you first start, you do think about that. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever, I want to get laid and, do drugs and party and, make money. But the best times I've had in music have nothing to do with money.
Right.
Looking back, it has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, I want to make some money, but I mean, you can't go up if you make like, a bunch of money at a festival or something and whatever, you sound like a pompous ass saying, hey, Ryan, I just made friggin', you sound
Yeah.
like a jerk.
Right.
And then to half the people, the other half are like, you chump, that's you only made 5,000 at that shit. You're bragging about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, you can't,
Yeah.
but anyway, like really, it's always like at rehearsal or something like that, the fun times, it's nothing to do with money. Like the
Yeah.
shows and what happened and the people you meet and all that, it has nothing to do with money, which was something I had to learn. I
Yeah.
kept thinking like more money and all that, but it's like it's not I've got a dog attacking me, but it's good. But that was the lesson I had to learn. It has nothing to do with money. So hold on one sec.
Okay.
Blackball in the corner. Go. She beat the door down. But anyway, yeah, that was something. So when you think about it, it's like, who cares about money? That has nothing. All my good stories have nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, but we've been lucky. I think you got to be grateful. A couple things. I'm working on a book that I hope to finish this summer.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I can't finish it because we've been too busy, and I've got to like almost take the summer off if I can afford to. I don't know if I can, but it's like I've got to, because I got to sit down and focus and finish the songs for the new album
Yeah.
and the book. But anyway, it's I was going to tell you a story, something about the book, but anyway, yeah, we're so busy that it's hard to focus on stuff. I don't know how you are, but I can't.
I'm
If I
terrible at
force
focus.
writing,
Yeah.
if I force myself to write, it comes out like a bank statement.
Yeah.
I've got to be like in the mood, and then I've got a million and one stories, and
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm working on it though. It's a
Yeah.
great book, and I want to write a book, not an autobiography. I want to write a book. So like the Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas, in
Mhm.
Las Vegas, of punk rock. I think that's what I'm kind of trying to do. So I don't know if it'll come out that good, but
So
I
is it
think it
fiction
is.
or is it based on your life or is it just a fictional
Yeah,
story?
around the band.
Okay.
It's loosely based on the band, but
Okay.
just again a book, not an autobiography. So
Yeah.
just people you've met and all that stuff. So, but it's been fun. But I still love music. With music, the great thing is you always have something to get out of the bed for in the morning.
Yeah.
Always it's a session. Today I've been fielding calls on WhatsApp from everybody in the UK about going to tour over there. We're going to play some Rebellion Fest in August and maybe Brack Rock in Belgium and, go with the 66ers, my side band. I can drag them along. We can do shows. And so it's just, we're really, really, I think I've never been so busy. Then I got my
Yeah.
studio. It's just crazy. You can't get anything done because I'm so busy with the band. So, but all good stuff. And I'm not complaining, but it's funny. You just gotta be dedicated to this stuff, I guess, so.
Yeah. I know it's getting late and I want to wrap this up soon because I could talk to you for the next 3 hours, but I don't want to keep you.
Yeah,
So
no
I,
problem.
I want to ask you about the studio too, which I think is so cool. I was looking it up on Facebook and online. So what is your role at the studio? Are you kind of more of a producer? Like if a band comes in, are you kind of giving creative input, songwriting
Oh yeah.
input? Are you playing on stuff? Like what's your role in?
All of the above, yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, I engineer and produce. So when
Okay.
I'm producing, I kind of like to be hands-on,
Yeah.
just, but yeah, I'm working with this guy Scooter, who's got great killer songs. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I engineer, produce. Some bands come down and they don't need much guidance, and then
Yeah.
other bands come down and they do need it but don't take it. It's funny. I only run it word of mouth, so it's like if I go out like on this tour and someone's like, I heard you have a studio,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to come down? Come on, whatever. So I don't
Yeah.
push anybody. I don't run it commercially. So,
Right.
but we've done some good stuff here. The 66ers, Queers. So, Dwarfs came in, Bottle Rocket came in. We've had some good bands. So yeah, it's fun, but without the studio, I'm always out there doing one thing or another. But I engineer. I don't mix.
Yeah.
I've had so many of these guys. I like doing sessions, produce, record here, and then get fresh ears on it.
Yeah.
People that understand where we're coming from, but they don't know any of the songs. They didn't record it, all that. Come in with fresh ears to mix
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
it's working out pretty good, yeah. But I have fun time. I like the creativity of it. So
Right.
I love doing that. So
So do you send it out to get mixed and mastered then? Is that what you do
yeah,
typically?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I got a bunch of great mixing guys,
Yeah.
big and small. And we've got my buddy Hyro. He's another engineer that works here. He's our in-house mixing guy. He did the 66ers and he's done a bunch of stuff that we put on Cleopatra. I don't know if you heard any of, like, Cleopatra Records did a Stones cover album. A bunch of bands covered Stones songs. They did a Beatles cover album, Pink Floyd.
Hmm.
So all that stuff Hyro mixed in studio. We recorded it all here. So it's fun. Yeah, it's just good energy. Everything's revolves around music around this house, so it's kind of fun. So
Do you hire a lot of people outside to come in and record?
no,
Like, no, it's just
no.
all bands.
Yeah, it's all I know like two or three local drummers,
Yeah.
and this I know a bunch of musicians that will come in and help out. So we just do it like that. Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, we
Yeah.
have a good time. I'm proud of the stuff we've done. So
Yeah.
in this day and age, you can record it. Me and you could record in the room you're in right now if we got some good gear and then send it to a mixing guy and it would be like,
Yeah.
huge sounding. It's all in the mix, really, how much
Right.
it's amazing what they can do. So I think these days, a lot of bands, they miss the organic being in the same room together, that, well, the drummer's in Rochester and this guy's in Miami and
Yeah.
this, you miss out
Yeah.
on that's the whole, to me, fun of recording. That's why I Saved the World I thought came out great, but I was doing it by myself pretty much
Hmm.
because of COVID,
Yeah.
and they had everybody in an uproar and scared the sky's falling in Chicken Little. And so Ginger wouldn't come up. Hog came down, but he doesn't live near here, so he came down. But I to keep on it's funny though, when I was in the studio and by myself, and I was thinking, man, nobody's here because of COVID. This is, it's so fun. I love having the guys around, and
Yeah.
that's part of the fun of making the album. So I like I pretended Joey had asked me to work on his solo album way back when, and so to keep myself on my toes because I was doing all the stuff in the Queers album, I was like playing, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play as if Joey Ramone's right here in the room with Daniel Ray, and I'm working on Joey's solo album. And I played as if he was right there. I know it's stupid, but it kept me, I had to do something to stay there because otherwise you get sloppy. You're like, I don't know, whatever, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was not like that. I was like, what if? So every take on vocals, I was like, as if Joey was watching me. Stupid, I know, but it kept me on my toes, and I did every take as if him and Daniel Ray were there, and if some big league guy was there, how would I play? And I go, that's how I'm going to play. I'm not going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And so that's how I played the whole album, and it kept me on my toes though.
Wow.
So yeah, I was really proud of the album, and we'll finish a new album this year too. I'm really excited about it, but I want to top Save the World, and so I'm really, it's a challenge. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning too with music. It's like I love Save the World. If that had been in '95, that would be considered one of our top albums. Our
Hmm.
albums don't have the impact they did, but if it was back then, God, that would have been a killer album.
Yeah.
So it still is, but I want to top it and really do something even better this time around. So I can do 3-chord shit, sit in the toilet and write out all
Yeah.
sorts of dumb stuff, 3 chords,
Yeah.
but I want to take it and work on this song and that song. And I've got some great stuff I'm really proud of. So it's, I don't want to do an album once a year. You know, it took 10 years to make Save the World between albums, and then this one's going to be 4 or 5 or something. So I want to make it special, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. But it's a challenge to make it better than Save the World, which I know I can. So that's, you know, again, you gotta challenge yourself, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. So yeah, we'll see. But it's just a band from New Hampshire. It's still, I have to pinch myself and say, God, I was like, what I dreamt about doing in high school. I wanted to have a band and have a studio and like
Yeah.
get to do this shit. I was like, fuck. But it's funny talking to you or many people. You know, we opened up for the Ramones three
Yeah.
times, you know, and
That's wild.
saw them umpteen times. So, you know, we're really lucky that I was lucky I got to do that and see those guys and behind the scenes and a little bit of what made Joey tick, you know. But he was
Hmm.
a nicer guy than I had to pinch myself a few times when I was talking to him because I was like, this is Joey Ramone, but
Yeah.
let's get him. We're just talking like me and you are, and it was really
Yeah.
cool and talking about bands. I remember I told him how I saw Kiss was the opening band, Journey was the middle band before Steve Perry, and the headlining band was Ian Hunter and Mick Ronson, Hunter Ronson band with the Orpheum in Boston, and nobody knew Kiss. They sucked, but I remember telling Joey, and they played. Hunter Ronson played Moon Age Daydream by David Bowie. It was like so cool, man. I was
Hmm.
like, yes. I mean, I saw Bowie 3 times too, but
Wow.
I always wanted to see him, you know, the Ziggy Stardust. I never saw that thing, but that era, but right afterwards. But it was really cool. Joey loved that and T-Rex and all that. It was fun to talk to like one of my heroes and like just, you know, but he was just a fan of music.
Yeah.
Great. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Could you ever see like a Queers version of Rock and Roll High School? Maybe a movie of the Queers?
Someone's asked us to do stuff like that, but we never did. Maybe
Yeah.
back in the day we could have. I don't know. Now we're a little long in the tooth, but I mean, it's a good idea. You know,
Yeah.
there's some cool ideas out there. So anyway, I don't want to mention it now. I've got some pretty good stories about that along those lines in my book. So I got a big mouth, so it's hard for me to not tell all my good stories. I'm saving them for my book, but
Gotta save it for the book. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I remember one time talking to Joey. I had been talking to Joey, and so he was calling me quite a bit back then. And then I remember reading in like Rolling Stone or someone told me something. The Ramones did a huge show down in Rio or something like that, like, you know, some huge attendance. They were like the Beatles down there.
Yeah.
And I talked to Joey and I was like, hey, you know, did you just get back from Brazil? He goes, oh yeah, yeah, we had a good show down there. It was like, you know, something I'd be screaming from the
Yeah.
rooftops about. Like there was 100,000 people on
Yeah.
Rio. It was something crazy like that,
Right.
and he hadn't even mentioned it to me. And I was like, he's like, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, yeah, that's 3 weeks. I was like astounded that
Yeah.
like, but yet that what get him out of bed in the morning was the next great song. It wasn't how much money, who he played to, and all that stuff. So that was
Yeah.
kind of refreshing. You know what I mean? It's like, God, I would have been bragging and telling everybody. And
Yeah.
so it was pretty funny. But yeah, I learned a lot from him. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. So yeah, you still play?
Um, I haven't played in a few years. I mean, I write stuff here and there.
Oh, yeah,
And you know Josh Rock, who's talked to you. You
yeah,
know, he's
yeah, of
like,
course.
I want you to play bass, and I'm like, all right, Josh, let's do it. You know, but it's trying to align everything and get everybody
Yeah,
together. You know, he wanted me to
it's
come and
tough.
record with you, and I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? I'll come record with Joe Queer. Are you kidding me? I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's like we got to get down and do it. So it's hard with
Well,
both.
remember, if you ever want to come out, I've had some bands fly in with literally the shirts on their backs. I've got guitars and everything here, cymbals, the kit, you know, drum kits, and
Yeah,
we got a studio kit. Like you can come out here with very little. Bring your guitar or don't bring your guitar.
yeah,
We got bass, everything, so you could literally just grab a flight here, and if you get the songs, come on in and record. So yeah, so
yeah.
I'd
I've
love
got some
to.
stuff written. Yeah,
That well, those are the type of projects I like doing. Stuff
yeah,
people that are into pop punk and
Yeah.
Ramones and stuff. And so it's, see what happens. It's so, yeah, it would just be fun. And
Yeah.
again, I'm sure we'd come up with some great stuff, but it'd be like we'd have a ball record. I could
Oh
tell
my
we'd have a, you know
gosh.
what I
I would
mean?
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be
we'd have
so
a
much
lot
fun.
of laughs. So yeah.
I was in a band called Pet Tigers like over 10 years ago. We got on a little label out here in Vegas. And the coolest thing for me was I got to open for Modern English. I don't know if you
Oh,
remember that band.
really?
So like we were like my whole thing about the band was I don't want us to have a guitar. I want it to be synth. I want it to be keyboard, bass, girl singer, and drums, no guitar. And we wrote, I guess if I were to describe it, it'd be like the B-52s kind of like surf punk without guitar though. So
Huh,
it was a challenge to write without guitar.
I bet.
And I
Yeah.
just wrote like 3 chord pop punk and she played the guitar. And I mean, we had some cool songs. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So um, yeah,
What was that called?
we were called Pet Tigers.
Pet Tigers.
I could send you a
Okay.
link. You want to hear it? Yeah, we've got an album. It's on Spotify. It's old. It's an older album, but
Pet
yeah,
Tigers. I love to listen to that stuff. Well, Ron, the keyboard player, has been playing with us. We were talking about how back in the day, back the old days, every band had a keyboard player.
yeah,
Like even in the early rock days, from Deep Purple to whoever, they all, Ian Martha Hoople, they all had the Stones, they all had a keyboard player,
the
small
Doors. Yeah, yeah,
faces. Everybody, yeah, the
yeah,
Doors. And then, you had the new wave and everybody had the keyboard then, Elvis Costello and now it's like bands don't have keyboards. It's weird. So it's
yeah,
cool for us to have a keyboard now. And it's surprising how much it adds just doing the rhythm, just the
yeah,
simple rhythm, having a keyboard player there. Of course, he can
yeah,
sing too. It's really cool.
yeah,
And so um, we've got a song we're working on loosely that I want to ask Fred Schneider from the B-52s to sing. And so it's keyboard oriented, and they're right over here. I think he still lives here in Athens. I'm in Atlanta, so
yeah,
not far from here. But that must have been a challenge. Yeah, no guitar. I mean, I don't know if that I could have worked with that, but
yeah,
it's cool anyway. The keyboard oriented bands, I think, are just more interesting.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
been fun, and the stuff I'm working on with my buddy Scooter, he's playing it's a lot of keys on that and synthesizer and stuff. It's really cool because ELO is one of my favorite bands. And of
Oh,
course,
I
Richard
love
Candy
ELO.
and,
Yeah,
all that. I've learned so much from listening to ELO from a
yeah,
producer standpoint and songwriter too.
yeah. Jeff
And
Lynne was phenomenal.
I mean, just
Yeah,
and to think they did that on tape. I was just talking the other day up to the 66ers. We're
yeah.
talking about some ELO song and they did it on tape, not in Pro Tools or Logic or
It's
whatever. They did it.
insane how good they were. Yeah,
Yeah, and to think that they did that on tape and all the different, I mean, what a producer. It's just insane how
yeah,
good it is. And so yeah, I learned a lot from but anyway, I love that type of stuff and the
yeah.
synthesizer and all that. I just think it's great. My buddy over in England was saying at Christmas he went back to see his mom in I think Andover, UK or whatever. And they were walking out of church, and some guy yelled over to his mom, Liz, or whatever, I don't know his mom's name, and came over, and it was Rick Wakeman from Yes, and he played with Bowie on Bowie Hunky Dory, and he was going to play on the Spiders from Mars, in the Spiders from Mars, but he joined Yes.
Wow.
And he said he was standing there, and he goes, I couldn't believe it. And Rick Wakeman went to the same church as his mom and knew her well. And so he said it was just so weird. Finally, she's like, "Oh, this is my son." He goes, "You're Rick Wakeman. I can't believe that." He said it
Yeah,
was the nicest bloke. That's what he said. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, the keyboards. I think it's kind of forgotten. It's been fun and inspiring to have a keyboard player with us. So
yeah,
in the studio, we're using Ron Moore. He just left yesterday. Actually, he was down for a few days. So yeah, that's been it. But it's funny playing this long, and I'm still excited to. I was just talking about some new songs with this guy Scooter. He's going to help me write a song in the new Queers album. It just keeps you something to get out of bed for in the morning. That's
yeah,
what music's always been. So it's
yeah.
crazy. So So yeah, I love it. I love it. You know, you're making new friends every time you leave the house. It's been incredible.
Yeah.
So I love it. Yeah.
And the thing about the punk rock community, I think, is that, and I love that people aren't egotistical, at least, like everybody feels like it's just one big family.
Yep.
I mean, like a guy like you, every time I talk to somebody about Joe Queer, they're like, he's so down to earth. He's the nicest guy in the world to talk to you, hang out with you. He loves the fans. So it's like, I love that attitude where you don't have to be this like egotistical prick rock star. And I love that. So I think that's cool.
Well, you know, I tell the story. It's in my book, but I'll tell you this one. But I was walking on the street with Joey Ramone going to the Coney Island High. This is years ago. We're at the Continental, and then he's like, "I'm going to your show. I'll walk back there with you." So I'm like thinking, I'm walking down the street, New York City, with Joey fucking Ramone. How
Yeah.
cool is this?
Yeah.
Whatever. So some German guy, we're just up a few blocks from CBGB's, and some drunk German guy sees Joey. It's like about 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We were going to sound check, I think. And he sees Joey Ramone. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is Joey fucking Ramone. I do not fucking believe this. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. I'm on vacation. The guy was walking to CBGB's, the old CBGB's.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still there, to take a picture.
Yeah.
And he was on vacation and he saw Joey and loves the Ramones. Had no
Yeah.
idea who we were. And he was just that guy. He was trying to kiss Joey's sneakers. I remember that, and just hugging him,
Wow.
and just it took about 10 minutes to fucking extricate our way. I
Yeah.
was just like, God, dude, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Finally, when we get out of there, I'm not kidding you. It was the better part of 10 minutes. And I said, Joey, how do you put up with that shit? And he goes, when that stuff starts bothering me, I'm going to drop music. He goes, we got to be grateful that our music has that impact on people, and we get to do this great job, this great thing called making music.
Yeah.
No matter what level we're at, the Queers, Ramones, Rolling Stones, we got to be grateful and thankful that we get to do this. And if that stuff bothers me, I'm going to quit, because I don't want to
Yeah.
be that guy like that. And whenever I thought or think I'm getting too big for my britches, or I think something's, bugging me or whatever, I always think of Joey and the drunk German guy. I never forgot that, Joey
Yeah.
and the drunk German guy,
Yeah.
and what he said to me. I'm sure for him it was he didn't think much of it.
Yeah.
But I listened to him, when he said that, and I never fucking forgot how he told me that. And I said, what a great lesson. And
Yeah.
that's how he was. He was into the music. He didn't care about this other bullshit. He
Yeah.
wanted to fucking write the next great song.
Right.
So I never forgot that. I was like, Joey and the drunk German guy. Always remember that if you get too big for your britches,
Yeah. That's wild.
So it's kind of funny, man. But that's how he was.
Yeah.
So
Well, Joe, I'll wrap this up. I hope we can keep in touch.
all righty.
I want to come and see you in February in Vegas. So it'd be great to
Okay.
meet you in person and shake your hand and get to see you guys play. So
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
look
Come
forward to
on
that.
down. Just shoot me a text. And I'll put you on the guest list. Just text like that afternoon or something. I can tell you we've got plenty of spots on the guest list. So
Okay. Yeah, it'd
I
be
don't know.
me and my wife
Where
wanted to go too. She hasn't really heard the Queers, but she wants to go. And I'm like, all right,
Oh, good. Okay, there you
date
go.
night. Okay.
Let me ask you, where is the show? What club?
Where's the well, it's Backstage Bar and Billiards. It's downtown Vegas. So it's like right off of Fremont Street, right in
Okay.
the middle of
Okay.
downtown. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
yeah. Back.
venue. It's a good venue.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. We love going out there. So
Yeah.
we always stay down there in Henderson, down at Sunset Station. The guys
Oh
like
yeah.
staying there. Well, they got
Yeah.
the all night diner in there in the restaurant. And then, if you want to go gamble, I don't gamble, but they got a
Yeah.
Starbucks in there and everything. So they're kind of handy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we always stay down. And plus, I don't like staying down in it gets too crazy there, any city really, not just Vegas, but so
Yeah.
we always stay out a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
If you
hit
need a
me
good
up.
place,
I'll put you on the list.
yeah, that'd be great. If you need advice on where to eat or where to go, we know a lot of good spots out here. So, you can always
Yeah.
ask me. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, we'll do. Yeah, but shoot me a text, or I'll try to text you before we get out there that
Okay.
afternoon. But be glad to put you on there. Yeah, so be fun to
Yeah.
hang out.
Oh, totally. Joe Queer. I can't tell you how grateful I am and honored to talk to you and hear all your stories and listen to your music. I've been listening to the Queers for 30 years and it never gets old, man. I love every time I hear. And I'll always
There
hear a
you
new
go.
song, and I'm like, there's another song I like. So like my recent one was
Yeah.
I think it's Deborah Jean. I heard Deborah Jean and I went, I love this song. I put it on loop, play it over and over again. I loved it.
Joey
So
Ramone loved that song.
that's such a great
The
song.
last time we opened for the Ramones, the Hampton Beach Casino in New Hampshire, that was the last song we played. And Joey watched the whole set.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I was like very well aware that Joey was watching the whole set. I was like, fuck, that's great, man. He's
Yeah.
watching the whole thing. And he goes, what was that last song you played there? And I go, Deborah Jean. He goes, that's a great song. And I was like,
Such
oh
a great
man,
song.
thank you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So many good
it's
harmonies and everything. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, thanks. But anyway, yeah, no, hopefully I'll see you here in a few weeks, Ryan. Good to
Yeah.
talk to you. And just keep in touch, but text me that afternoon for sure. Maybe we can grab a coffee or something, you know?
I love that. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
thanks, Joe.
absolutely.
We're going to wrap this up. But Joe Queer, everybody, look up the Queers if you haven't listened to him. Check out his book when it comes out. When are you releasing the book, Joe? Oh, you don't know because you're not done with it yet. It's going to take a while.
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping by early like next year we'll have it all done and out.
All right.
I'm shooting for that. So
Okay.
I'm kind of like putting everything aside to finish the book. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll get it out soon. So we'll see. So
All right. Thank you, Joe. Joe Queer. Look up the Queers and let's keep in touch, man.
yep. Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Did you enjoy this episode? I hope so. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Ryan Says Thanks. Your support is appreciated. And hey, even if you don't buy me a coffee, I'm happy to have you listening. So keep it up, and thanks again.